My biggest want is just make sure it's not on that Madden engine, man. These players need to be moving so much more smoothly than how they do in that Madden game. I'm not a gamer, but I see the clips, and those players do not move naturally. It's crazy to me how bad they look in 2024, dude, on like a PlayStation 5, man. That's crazy. Do you play Madden?
Yeah, I do a little bit. I haven't the last couple years because it has been so terrible and it has been the same game over and over again. That is my only worry with this because, they're using that Frostbite engine, but they also say it's not going to play the same as Madden because they've had more years to work with it. That still frustrates and concerns me. They're saying everything right now when it comes to that game. All of the details we've gotten in the last couple of days make me super excited for the game, make me really look forward to it. But I also, I still have that, it's the trauma, the PTSD of EA Sports and what they do to sports games. Like, they have a chance to be one of the best sports games ever in this NCAA. But also, why do they need to put that much money into this game if it's the only college football game? Like, people are going to buy it most likely anyway. And so that's my concern and worry. I'm going to wait until we see more. I'm excited for it. I really want I really, really, really want the Colorado jerseys to be in there, like whatever the new ones are going to be, bigger history of jerseys. Right now, the only thing we know that's confirmed because of all the assets that were sent to EA and the public knowledge of it was not even this year's jerseys were sent. The year before Coach Prime came, jerseys were sent, the grays, the whites, and the blacks. And if that's all that's in there, that's not going to be great. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, there's time to put the new jerseys in. Here's the problem. Anything that they submit to EA, because they are a state-run program, has to be public knowledge. That's how the guy found all the assets last year, was he literally put out state requests for information, which is public legal knowledge. You go look at the articles for it. It's really crazy. It's why he doesn't have every school, is because it's only certain state schools that he got that data from. And Colorado's list of information that they were given was Folsom Field, Ralphie pictures, some pictures around the stadium, and then those old jerseys. No Peggy yet. No Peggy yet. They probably have to license her. They'd probably have to license her, but who knows? That'd be probably the coolest thing ever to see her shaking the pom-poms, during the pregame festivities. But yeah, so if they're gonna put the jerseys in, we have to have them actually announced, because I think they know that they will leak that way. And I know that Coach Prime is not going to waste a marketing opportunity to do something flashy with it, which is why I also think that the spring game fashion show has to be the jerseys. If they're not, the jerseys will not be in Madden or NCAA 25 this year. They won't. We'll have to wait another year. Yeah. That's just the way it is. So if we don't see jerseys this spring, we're probably not seeing them in the game in July.
Now, I saw this on Twitter today. I don't know if you saw it, Russ, about coaches not being in the game this year. Yeah. Are they really gonna do that without Coach Prime, Lane Kiffin, Sark, all these guys? They're not gonna be in the game?
Yeah, it sounds like they weren't able to get the negotiations done. Obviously the coaches' negotiation is going to be a lot different because of how much coaches get paid and everything to do with that. So my guess is they just couldn't get to it because they're still trying to figure out all of the athlete stuff. And my assumption is you're going to prioritize the athletes first because there's more of them than there are coaches. And 5 times out of 10, maybe you and I are going to play Dynasty as ourselves, put ourselves in the coaching spot. So really, do you need them? Probably not. We got away with it for a really long time in sports games where the coaches were just random people, and people haven't complained too much about it. Now, I do think the hilarious part is them saying that you're not going to be able to create any player that opted out of the game.
Oh, good Lord. Really?
I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? We're gonna put the kids' names in the database, and if you match up the names word for word, it's gonna stop them from going in there. So people have been joking on the internet that it's like, oh, I'm gonna be playing as Shadur Manders instead of Shadur Sanders, or putting numbers in the name to get that right. I don't know how they're gonna do that. The only way they truly can do that is if they take create a player completely out, which they know they can't do.
You can't
So it's weird. Those are the parts that I'm like, I'm a little concerned going into this year that they haven't figured that stuff out a little bit better.
I got another question for you, Russ, with this video
Yeah.
game stuff, because I'm just like S represent. He's saying, or they're saying they haven't played a video game since they were 16 years old. I haven't had one of those big time gaming consoles since like 2010. I got rid of my PlayStation when I went to college. It's just something that I wanted to do. And I have my Nintendo Switch that I'll like play every now and then, you know, but it's not anything, you know, like a PS5 or anything. But I think I remember with the PlayStation 3, and this might have even been PlayStation 2, where you could download, you could go online onto the NCAA games and download custom rosters that people had created with everybody's official name in there and everything like that. So I remember doing that for Tim Tebow and the Gators, you know, having their whole roster in there and everybody else's. And so are you saying that there wouldn't be any, like, they wouldn't allow a database or like custom rosters to be shared or anything like that?
I don't think they're going to do that just yet, because that's what got them in trouble the first time around.
Oh, for real?
That was part of it. Obviously, they were also doing shady stuff where they had all of the stats for the players and just named them something else, or named them quarterback 15 in the Tebow case, you know,
Yes.
and quarterback 15 was left-handed and ran the ball a ton. And it's
looked like Tim Tebow.
Okay, like, we know who that is. You don't need to, like, so the problem is they're going to have to, if they opt out, they are going to have to go completely random. And by the way, this isn't the first time this has happened in sports. If you go back in time with sports video games, Michael Jordan never licensed himself to video games until he retired. So any of the video games back in the 90s and 2000s did not have Michael Jordan. They had a random player on the Bulls that was a 99
Jam
overall.
never had the Bull or Michael Jordan on the Bulls.
Nope, that's why he refused to license himself to video games. Barry Bonds refused to license himself into video games after a while. So the joke was, I can't remember his name. It was a white left fielder named Joe something in the MLB The Show games back in the early 2000 or late 2000s. That was Barry Bonds. You knew it was Barry Bonds, but he was like, they made him completely look different. The other person that surprisingly had this issue, Bill Belichick, has also not allowed his likeness in video games. So the Patriots in all of the recent Madden games have just New England Patriot coach. That's who the coach is for the Patriots in that game. So it's happened before and they've gotten away with it. The problem was the NCAA games, they obviously did not do enough to differentiate those players from the real life ones, because they use the same numbers. They use the same height. They use the same weight. They did everything the same and just didn't name them. So I don't think that's going to happen. However, if this game is on PC, now all bets are off, because PC games are easily modded. They've been doing that to Madden for years. Well, not years, because it's only been a couple years that Madden's been back on PC. And we've seen what the modding community has done there, by the way. If you ever go look it up, the modders do a much better job than the actual developers for Madden do, because they put a lot more detail and work into it. They've done some amazing things with mods that you have to go look at to see how realistic they can make Madden look. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that.
And then the second thing is that you probably don't realize, which I'm actually partially excited for with the new NCAA game. There is a thing called NCAA Revamped. It is a mod for the NCAA 14 video game, which was the last NCAA game. And these modders have been releasing updates to this with rosters and teams and jerseys. And oh yeah, I play NCAA.
Do you have
Revamped.
to pay for it?
Nope, it's completely free. You technically have to own a copy of NCAA 14 in order to download and play it. But you know, I'll just leave it at that. Other people can kind of get where that comes from. I will say NCAA 14 is a very expensive game if you want to get the actual like copy of it. I have 2 copies of it. It's like a couple $100 if you want to buy one of those, because of how in demand they are, because it ended. But go look it up, because guess what? EA actually hired half of the NCAA revamped team to work on the new NCAA game because they did such amazing things to the old game that they had to go out and do that. So EA was a little bit smart there and didn't just, close them down and say no. They actually hired them on to make things. So there's so many cool things behind the scenes. We could probably do an entire afternoon talking about that stuff. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to really see where that's all come from.
Wow, incredibly interesting. And okay, I got one more video game question for you, Russ.
Yep.
So I want to get this video game, even though I'm not a video game guy, and I want to stream it to whether that's YouTube or Twitch or whatnot. My friend told me that Steam, because I like the handheld ability of the Switch,
Yep.
but obviously not the best graphics on this thing, and I don't think you can stream from the handheld. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I've heard that there's a handheld Steam console. Will we see College Football 25 on Steam or on the PC in that way?
I'd have to go look. I don't know if they confirmed it for PC or not. If it's for PC, then you can play it on that. My recommendation for you, one, you could technically use your Switch, but I don't know if NCAA is coming to the Switch either, because again, that's a very different beast entirely. The other problem is if you do want to stream, and hey, this is advice to anybody out there. I stream video games regularly. I have a completely other channel persona that does all that stuff. You can obviously see all the video games in the background if people have been watching my videos and never noticed that. The thing I would recommend is one, I would get one of the two consoles. I would either get an Xbox or a PlayStation. The reason why I say that is you absolutely could get a PC to stream. But the problem is that when you're streaming, you have to have enough power in your computer to be able to stream and run the game at the same time. And that takes up a lot of juice.
Mm-hmm.
So you absolutely can do it. You're going to need a very good computer. Steam Deck is not one that I would say you would play the game on and stream at the same time. It's not powerful enough to do both. I own a Steam Deck. I love it. But it is limited by its mobility and power. The reason why I say console is probably a better entry if you're somebody that's like, hey, I want to start streaming video games. That's because you can get an adapter that goes into a computer so that the computer does the streaming, the console does the gaming, and you just feed the picture into your computer, which then feeds it over, just like you do here with your camera and StreamYard and doing all that stuff. So very similar to that. That's going to be your cheapest entry into streaming if you're starting out from scratch. So that's, if anybody out there wants to do that as this comes into fruition and we start seeing a lot more probably streams pop up with NCAA coming out, that's going to be kind of the best way to do it.
Man, I love it. Well, thank you so much, Russ. I guess maybe we can ask the mod community to make a CU Buffs team with all of the Buffs content creators. I think that would be hilarious. And we can take on other teams and their content creators. I think that would be a lot of fun. We can have 5 different Chicos playing offensive line. We can have Rawhide running the special teams, Cole and more, running down the field, taking down kick returns and everything like that. That's my idea. Somebody that's watching, you got to go with it.
I bet you somebody who's watching plays NCAA revamped and they're already starting to type in that and going to be sending it to you here at some point. Hopefully that'd be really fun and really awesome to see.
It would be a lot of fun. But yeah, Chad, you can go on to David Talks Buffs on Twitch. I used to stream some of these shows on here, but I don't really right now. But yeah, when I get that console, when I get this game ready to play, I'll be putting it on there for sure. It'd be a lot of fun. So, Russ, I appreciate your time, man. This hour flew by. Let the viewers know what you got coming up soon for the viewers, as well as how many subs are you at right now?
315.
375, you said?
315. We're at 315. Let's see. We'll do a quick update right now. We'll see if that's changed.
Let's do
317. We've gained 2 subscribers in the last hour. So appreciate whoever that was on here. But yeah, check out Buffs News Weekly on YouTube. I do a weekly news wrap-up show every Saturday right now. During the football season, the plan is to probably do Sundays because we obviously want to have the actual games involved in that summary. But yeah, feel free to go over there, interact with me. Same thing on Twitter, Buffs News Weekly. That's where I retweet and do all of the up to the minute news sort of thing. And just love interacting with the community in Buff Nation. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, David, for welcoming me into the Buffs content creator community. It's been awesome getting to be a part of it and meet other people and do that. And see the growth already. Like I said, I doubled subs last weekend. So I'm excited to see what happens this week. And there wasn't even really any news last week. Like it just hit right, I guess.
Yeah, man, I absolutely love it. Y'all, please go subscribe to Russ's channel. I've linked it in the description of my video. Like 90% sure I did. So y'all go subscribe to Buffs News Weekly. Russ, always appreciative of your time. Everybody, thank you so much for chiming in on the chat. This was a very lively discussion. Appreciate you guys. As always, I'll be back tomorrow, and Go Buffs. All right. Thanks again, Russ. This was